sometimes the problem is not the student. It can be the instructor. Maybe you're taking classes, and not necessarily because it's a bad instructor per se, but I believe in chemistry. So if the student doesn't have the chemistry with the teacher, it can be the best teacher ever. I have taken some classes with some teachers that are like, I'm not coming back. And they're great dancers, but I just didn't feel it. It's like when you go into a workshop, right? You go into a workshop, oh my God, I love that instructor. And maybe you learn two steps.
Hey, all right. So I am now on the line with a Miss Claudia, aka Kaya Barraza, aka DJ Kaya, who was born in Barranquilla, Colombia, currently living in Baltimore, Maryland. You are the director of Vivelo, Latin and Ballroom Championships, as well as your dance company, Kaya Dance Company.
Yep.
You are the original founder of the Baltimore Salsa Bachata Congress, which you founded back in 2009. And you are a dance instructor, a DJ, as well as an event organizer. Is that correct?
That's correct.
How are you doing today, Miss
Doing
Kaya?
great. I'm doing great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I want to start off by saying, I really want to thank you for taking time with you to talk to me today.
Oh no, well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, of course. So, and I guess to start this out, I'll be very curious to hear from you. What or how was your childhood growing up in Barranquilla or in Colombia? What was that like for you?
Okay, well, my country being a Latin country, we're born like watching our grandpas and moms and uncles and everybody dancing in the house. So it's like normal. Um, no, because it's normal, every Latin person like it, and not every Latin person will become either in love with dance or music or, take it as a profession, but it's definitely part of our culture. And so I was born in that culture. And also, my mom is actually a professional folklore dancer back home. So she's 80 years old right now. She's about to be 81. She still performs. She still goes on stages and travels in different countries dancing, but it's more folklore out, something from home. And so when I was probably 9 and she took me to a practice, I was like, oh my God, this is so much fun. I think my root is more in the music itself, like the love for music. And then it became the love for dancing as I was watching my mother and all her friends practicing. And I like the fact, they all look the same because, they're doing choreos. At that time, I didn't know that's what it was. But I like the fact that they all look the same, synchronized, and this is so much fun. And then I became the youngest member of that team. Yeah. So
Okay.
my root is folklore dancer.
Okay, I understand that. So growing up in Colombia and everything, growing up in that culture, I'm very curious to hear from you. How important was music growing up in your household?
Oh, 100%. Like, just to tell you a regular day, even if we're going to school, like we woke up at 5 in the morning and the first thing is to push the button to click the stereo. Because in that time, it was like pushing the button. It's not like today, just click on your phone because cell phones didn't exist at that time. Uh, and so we had, those big radiolas, and I don't know in English, but there's a big device for the music and it has the vinyl and all that. So we woke up with the first thing we did, putting music in the house while we're getting ready to go to school, breakfast or whatever. And there we go. Saturdays and Sundays, well, it was worse because we don't have to go to school. So now we have music in the house all day. Yeah, it's all day. My mother was really involved with some of the musicians in the country. So she used to have parties at the house with live musicians. And so I don't know, you heard like Carlos Vives, that they become really big. Well, they started pretty much like in my house, like Joy Arroyo. It was kind of like a big figure in my family. and then we grew up with his music. And my cousin was like a manager for a lot of the musicians back home. So for me, music, it was my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, pretty much. Yes.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm curious. Tell me this real quick. What was Colombia like in your childhood? What do you remember of Colombia?
Everything, everything. I was in Colombia until I was 29 years old. So I didn't leave my country like too young. So I went there to school, high school, and college. And so that's all I knew. And it wasn't really one of my dreams to leave my country. I was really happy in my country, and I always wanted to live there, and do my life in there. So all my memories are great. The food is awesome. The warmth of the people, like Colombians are well known because they're really welcoming. Like you go to Colombia next day, they're all your friends pretty much. More yeah, I think for me the biggest thing that I love about my childhood and being raised in there is the warmth, the food, and definitely the values, because we're like a 99% Catholic country. So we're big on values and spiritual. Yeah.
I understand that. I'm curious. Could you tell me this? You said you lived in Colombia for 29 years. Uh, can you put it? Did Colombia change at all from when you were a child to when you were an adult? Did anything change?
Do you mean in the 29 years?
Yes, ma'am. I see.
Oh, I mean, I was born in 1968, right? So I can say I was born in the 60s. So I went through the whole 70s and the 80s and the 90s and the whole change, even in music. Obviously, it was a lot going on, in a lot of changes. I was never too fan of like rock and roll and like American music per se. I was always into my own music. So I was raised with vallenato, which is really a Colombian rhythm, and something that Carlos Vivelo started introducing in a modern way. Um, and then salsa, definitely. Since I was born until today, that has been my love. Like I listen to a salsa song and I'm already like, oh, either I want to listen to it or I want to dance to it. Um, and so, but the changes were huge, musically and culturally as well. We went through really rough times with the whole, unfortunately, dangers that we have in our society. And I don't like to talk about it much because my country has so many beautiful things to talk that I want to keep it in the positive. But we did went through that time, and it was really hard, because you had to stay home for different reasons that we're staying home now. And so, but when I go back home now, it's way different as well. So from the time I left to the time now, way better, way better. Like it's a really safe country. Like you can really go anytime to pretty much any city and you are safe, which is really awesome because that was the only little thing that I didn't like about my country, is that you didn't feel safe. But since it started becoming a safe place, I can tell you, and obviously because I'm from there, I'm biased, but it's one of the most beautiful countries. Yep.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I'm curious to hear from you.
Hey kid, come here. Hey, if you could be black and subscribe for the channel, share with the people, that'd be amazing.
Amazing. I'm curious to hear from you. I don't know how long you've been living in the United States, but would you consider Colombia a place where you would raise your children? Is that a consideration?
I would, I would have, but I feel like I'm from two countries. I'm Colombian and I'm Colombia to my bones. But I'm also really appreciative and I really love the United States because since I moved here with my daughter. I already have my daughter when I moved here. She was 8 years old. And then I have my son, which he's American. Um, but this is a country of opportunities. No matter what people want to put it in a different way, it is. I'm not saying my country doesn't have, but being realistic as a mother, you cannot compare. I always feel like in this country, if you want to, you can. Back home, sometimes want is not enough to make it happen because the support that you have from the society is limited in a lot of ways. And I come from a family that is well, financially. But I don't see the opportunities that my kids had in this country, they would have back home. Yeah.
Okay, I understand that. I definitely understand that.
Be here.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess we're kind of jumping a little around everything, but you said that you left Colombia in when you were 29. What made you leave, and where did you go to?
Love. Love is always the guilty one. So I met the father of my son, which is an American. He's in the Marine Corps. So he being a Marine, well, an American, he had to go back to this country. And the only way we could stay together, really, we had to get married. It's not really like we even asked, like, would you want to marry me on that? Like, we had to get married. We want to stay together. And then it was a hard decision because I had to leave everything I known, my family, my friends, my work, my dance group at the time, everything. And for my daughter as well. She has to leave everything behind. And we moved here actually to Ohio, which was really interesting because, Colombia is a tropical country. So we don't have winter as they have here in the States. So my first snow was miserable. For my daughter, it was the greatest thing ever when she saw snow, and I was no. To today, I don't get used to the snow and the cold. Um, but then from Ohio, we moved to Virginia to Quantico, to the military base. And after September 11, my husband at the time got orders to go to Okinawa, Japan, and we were there for 4 years.
Okay, that's awesome. I'm actually in the military myself.
You are in what branch?
I'm in the Coast Guard.
Oh, the Coast Guard.
Yes,
Awesome.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually met my girlfriend in the military.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah, she's Dominican, and we're about to go over to Guam. I don't know if you've heard of it. You were in Japan, so you know where Guam's at, right?
I went to one.
I'm about to move over there
Oh my
next
God, you're
Monday.
gonna love it.
I hope so. I'm very
No,
excited.
it's a beautiful island and the people is extremely nice. You love one. Yep. Nice.
I'm very
Where
excited. Yes,
you?
that's awesome. Is there a dancing scene out in Guam? Do you know?
Now I don't know. At the time when I went is when I was living in Japan, and I went just kind of like for a few days for vacation, and I did went to a club. Don't ask me the name because I don't remember. Um, but it was actually in the same hotel that we were staying. So like by the lobby, they have this little live band, which I was really surprised. Like they have a salsa live band. And I went and I stayed. It was great, great, really nice island.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I was extremely happy when I got those orders to Guam. This was like a
Yeah,
once in a lifetime opportunity.
I'm jealous. Yes.
Um, so real quick though, I kind of want to go back. You said you went from Colombia to Ohio. I'm very curious to hear from you. What was that transition like? What was it like leaving your home country of Colombia and going to, a completely different country? Well, what was that experience like for you?
You're bringing memories. It was really bittersweet because, you're moving to a whole new life that you really don't have any idea. I didn't know any English whatsoever. Zero. I didn't even know how to say hi. Like somebody say hi to me and I'm still looking somewhere. Um, and I knew that. I knew that I was moving here and to Ohio, out of all places. Most of the people probably won't speak Spanish. And in the 2 years I was in Ohio, I met one Hispanic person. One. And so it was really hard because of the language barrier. I couldn't even communicate with my husband's family at the time. So it was all like, or through him. So no secrets, right? Because he has to know everything that I'm talking about. Um, but then my daughter went to school, and little kids, they learn super fast. It was really hard for her because she goes to school, she doesn't speak English either. So she couldn't understand anything. She has a translator. I mean, it was a whole transition, but within probably, I say 3 months, she was speaking English. So now she was my translator to go to the shopping mall, to the grocery store, to everywhere. I didn't drive because I didn't have a social security card yet, or a driver license, or nothing. So I'm totally depending on other people. Um, but then I was walking one day through the neighborhood, and I saw this church. I had the doors open, and it's like a classroom, and it says it's free Spanish class, English classes. And I was like, oh my God. So I started going to that church and I started taking English lessons because it was a walking distance from the house. And it helped a lot. And also, I put in myself, okay, I'm going to start learning 2 or 3 words every day. Even if I don't know a sentence or how to put it together, but at least I know 3 words. So I used to watch like Cinderella, and don't laugh, with my daughter because I know the story. So I used to put it on TV, put the captions in English, so now I can see what they're saying and how it's written. And it does help me a lot. I start listening to music in English too and kind of get my ear a little used to. But let me tell you, I came to this country in 2008. Sorry, I left my country in 1998. And still to today, I'm learning English. Is a second language, and when you start learning a second language, the older you are, the difficult it is. So my daughter can speak both languages with no accent. I will die with my accent. I used to suffer, and sometimes I used to cry because people used to make fun of me because my accent, and what, I don't get what, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how to say this word. Um, Now it's like it's part of who I am, and I try to become a little better because I do live in this country, and I think it's important that you need to learn the language to where you live and the culture and all that. But my accent is there, so yeah, my friends will have to make a little effort to try to understand me sometimes.
I just said, well, I'll say this. Your English is way better than my Spanish. So
Ah,
that is
so,
seriously, yeah, I'm able to have a conversation with you. So that is super duper amazing and impressive.
yeah, okay, that's awesome. But yeah, the transition was hard because of the language, but everything else, um, I'm really adaptable, if that's a correct word. I can adapt pretty easy to different situations and different scenarios and circumstances. And I think that has a lot to do with my upbringing in Colombia because we went through a lot of different stages in our society and culture and all that, and you had to adapt to survive. And I mean, we humans are meant to do that anyways. But I think I have a high level of adaptation. So the rest for me was easy. The language was the part that I was like, oh my God, when I'm going to learn this. And I'm active. So I wanted to work. I wanted to go to school. I wanted to do things. And until you have some kind of level, you cannot do any of those things. So it took me probably like a year and a half to start working in a supermarket to where I didn't have to speak with nobody. Yeah.
I understand that, and I've actually heard from other people as well as my girl, saying like when trying to learn a language, like watching kids shows is a great way to pick up on some things.
100% is the best way because it's a simpler language, and I am totally like advertising, putting the captions. To today, I still put the captions because they still say words that I'm like, oh, I never heard that word, and yeah, I mean, all languages are so extensive. Even Spanish, I cannot say I know every single word in Spanish, and so the captions help a lot. Kids, yeah, shows for sure. And I remember my ex-husband told me one day, the day you can watch the news or a sport program in English and you understand, you speak English.
Oh, now, hey, I
That
like it.
took me more like 3 years. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Um, so I think we kind of got away from it, but you spoke about growing up in Colombia, and your mother used to dance, and you joined her dance team. Is dancing something that you've done throughout your whole entire life, or?
Yes, definitely. So I danced with my mother group for probably until the day I left. When I went to college, I did it a little less because college is busy, and then I started working, and then I had my daughter, but I never really stopped. I just did it more or less. But definitely dancing and music is my food. I can't be without it. I can maybe one day I don't listen to any music and I don't dance anything, but next day I need to listen or do something that's music related. Um, and so when I moved to Virginia, to Quantico, that I was already okay. I need to work. I found my first teaching um, job as at a dance studio that has just opened in Stafford, Virginia. And I walked into the studio and I said, "Do you have salsa lessons?" And the owners were there, and they didn't even know what salsa was. So we're talking about year 2000. So salsa wasn't as big as it is in the United States. Talking as a country, because obviously I know in New York and places like that, I've been there for a long, long, long time. But this is a little town in Stafford, Virginia. They're like, salsa who? So, I go on like, oh, okay, this is this rhythm and this and that. And then believe it or not, for the first time I was like probably 31 years, I knew that you teach by counting. And I'm like, counting? What do you mean you count? It was so foreign to me. So I went to ask my mom first, and she was also like, huh? Because back home, I'm talking about those years, not today, when you went to take dance lessons of any kind, salsa, folklore, you name it, the teachers, as you have seen like Zumba lessons when the teachers are just doing, but they're not counting. So you're pretty much just following the moves, and following the moves, you start getting into the rhythm and learning the steps. So that's the way I learned, and that's the way it was taught for a long time. So when I came here, it's like 1, 2, 3. I'm like, what is this? And so I actually watched some videos and the first video I watched, it was this lady from LA. What is her name? She's called the Princess of Dance, Josie Neglia. And she was like 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and forward and back. And I'm like, oh, that's how it's done. Okay. So I go back to the studio like I'm a pro. I mean, I knew how to dance, but teaching is a different story. So I went and I'm like, super beginners. Nobody even knew the name of salsa. So you have to start teaching them like kind of where it comes from, what is it about, why do you count it this way? And to me, actually, was a learning experience. As I was teaching, I was learning, and I enjoy it so much. So that's how I kind of start teaching. But then I decided at some point in Japan, actually, that I will stay with my beginners because I love the getting them the enthusiasm. Like, I want to get you into this. I want to make you fall in love with this. And once you fall in love with this, and you know enough, go to the pros. Go to the ones that know more than me, but now you got it on you. Yeah, so I feel that that's my job in this.
Now I understand that,
Yeah.
and I'll say this. You said a couple of things, but one thing I've noticed talking to a lot of people,
And
I
please
guess that.
interrupt me when I'm talking because I can talk.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. You're really fine. And I mean, I need you to talk. I need you for the show, so please talk. But something I noticed is that dances that are very like interwoven into the culture. A lot of people, they say they learn from imitating. They didn't really have counting, so they
Right.
just watched someone do it, and that's how they learned it. So I definitely understand that.
Right. Oh yeah.
Um, I wanted to ask you though.
Hold on. Yeah, I'm listening.
Oh, yeah, you're fine. Hey, so you were speaking on you know, h- teaching and everything. I guess I'm very curious. What was that first year like learning to teach? Because
Oh
like you said, teaching and dancing are two different skills, and
yes,
not every dancer is a good teacher, not every teacher is a good dancer.
definitely not. So what I did when I had my first class at that studio, it was called the Virginia School of Arts. Um, I felt like I wasn't giving my students what they deserve as a teacher, because they're asking me a lot of questions. And if I don't know the answer to every single question, then I don't feel like I'm doing my job right. And also, obviously people was paying for these classes because if you're teaching for free to your friends, okay, it's laid back. But this is a real serious studio, and I didn't wanna not do well. And so I came home and my ex told me, okay, well, maybe you need to take some classes on how to teach, right? Because you know how to dance, but then you don't know how to teach it. Like, yes, yes. So I started researching um, who are the best, Google. Who's the best salsa instructor in Virginia? Yeah, and then you have names, and I don't know who is who because I don't know nobody. Then I found Chaka Brown. Yeah. I,
I've had him on the show, Shaka Brown. He's a great
well,
guy, wonderful
yeah.
guy.
And he had no clue and he doesn't remember this, but I do because obviously I was a student. And it's not like he teach me how to teach, but I went to his classes to see how he was teaching. And I took the beginners like I never danced before. And I was trying to hold it back a lot because I didn't want the other students to notice that I already knew. So I'm putting my mindset, okay, I don't know nothing. So I'm really listening to what this guy is saying, how he explained it, and I learned a lot, a lot, because I was, oh, wow, okay. And all this with the weight of your body and put your weight here. To me, that was the more confusing thing. It really took me a minute to understood, right? But that's really important for dancers, like how they handle their weight and all that. To me, it was just I'm just dancing, right? No, it's really a lot more, and I start creating this bigger respect for dancers and teachers. And so for me to become like a real, like, professional and Kaya, the dance instructor or something, I knew it was going to take a lot of training. By then, I had two kids, a husband. I'm learning the language. I'm trying to make my own identity in this country. And so I'm like, if I stick with one group and I concentrate on them, I think I will do a better job than trying to be beginner, intermediate, professional. So that's what I told you, right? Decide to stay with beginners and become the best beginner instructor I could be and let my students go. I do believe there is just so much you can teach. So it comes to the point to where what else do I teach you? Because then you're becoming even better than me. I have students that when I see them later, I'm like, because I know when they started with me, they didn't even know the music, right? Then I see you 3, 4 years after, and you're doing all these combinations of all these things, and keeping the rhythm is my biggest thing when I teach. I don't want to teach you 200 steps. I want you to understand the music. I take my time, and some students just dropped, right? Because they just want to learn steps. And it's like, it's pointless that you know all these steps if the music is here and your steps are not even synchronized with the music. But when I see them, to me, it's the biggest happiness ever. Like, oh my God, I know this guy is been, taking classes for 5, 6, 7 years, and they will come and say, I took classes with this guy and this guy and this girl. And I'm like, awesome. So yeah, that's how kind of I started on that.
I understand. You said your biggest thing was keeping the music, or so what do you mean, like staying on beat? What do you mean?
Yeah, understanding the music, right?
Understanding the music.
Uh, so you have all kinds of students from all kind of cultures and ethnicities and ages and you name it. And I also believe a lot of the teachers in any field, it can be dancing, it can be Spanish, it can be science. Teachers in some way they become like psychologists, because you start getting to know your students, you start getting to know where they're coming from. Dancing, I learned that has the power to heal so many people, especially in the psychological part. Maybe your self-esteem is really low for whatever reason. But then you come to the dance lesson and you feel like you're learning, you actually can do it. Your self-esteem start coming up. You might take it a little harder and you start losing weight. And it just has so many benefits. So I talk to my students about that. And once they understand all the benefits on that side, I said, okay, now let's listen to this song. And let's say I play slow salsa. So I asked them, do you feel that is what is kind of the tempo? So like, oh, that's kind of fast. So I'm like, well, actually, that's kind of slow. And let me show you why and how. And what is the beat? And what is that you're actually looking to listen to? Because, salsa is so busy. To listen to all instruments will make you crazy at the beginning. So you got to concentrate on the percussion, to keep the beat. And why is it one in here? And why is it two in here? And three and all these counts? That takes time. And unless you're really interested and you really, really, really want to learn, you will drop out. Because like, I just want to learn how to dance. But that is dancing. You need to learn the music. Musicality is key for me.
And I definitely understand that. Let me ask you this real quick. I want to kind of give value to maybe someone who's listening. So tell me this, in your time as a teacher, what are some common mistakes or errors that you see beginners make that that you wish you could fix as a whole?
I don't want to call it mistakes, right? But I want to call it more like lack of research, something like that. Because they will come to the class and they have this perception, and I don't know if it's in every dance. I'm talking about for what I know, like salsa, bachata, Latin rhythms, who has been my students. And people have this concept that they can learn in an hour. Yeah, I'm gonna come, I'm gonna take this class, I'm gonna pay whatever amount of money, especially you pay money. You wanna walk after the hour and you go to the club. And I have students that have taken 3 of my lessons. And remember, I'm a beginner teacher. 3. And next thing, such and such is teaching. What? And then I'm really, I don't know, I'm really honest and I'm really black and white. And then if you're my students and 3 classes after I find out you're teaching, I will call you. I will call you and I say, what are you doing? Right? And yeah, people take offense on that because it's like, who am I to tell you what to do? But then I tell you, it is a responsibility. It is a responsibility. It's like teaching, I'm your Spanish teacher and I'm teaching you wrong. Then another Spanish teacher will have to come and teach you again. to
Get those
correct
bad habits.
what I teach you wrong, right? So I said, okay, is this about your passion? You really want to, what is your reason to learn? That's the first thing a student has to ask himself. Why do I want to learn this? I want to learn this so I can go to the club and pick a girls. Then you're in the wrong, right? This, to me, Kaya Barraza, personally, learning a dance has to be a passion, period. You gotta do it because you love it, because you enjoy it, because it gives you so much joy and all that, but you cannot do it for any other reason. I mean, you can have reasons behind that, but the first has to be you have to have the passion, because if you do it only because you want to become an instructor for the money, it's going to be a lot harder, right? But when you have the passion, I believe in any profession, if you have the passion first, you'll make it. And people will believe you. When I sit down with you and I say, hey, I want you to listen to this song 200 times until you're sick of it, and you know every beat of that song, that I can ask you, where is the trumpet coming in? You know, when you're singing and you know a song and you know exactly where the instrument is gonna hit, that's what I want my students to do. Because if you learn one song or two or three or four, now the fifth, the sixth, the seventh will be easier. Yeah. So I think the biggest mistakes they make is the assumption that they can learn in super quick. This takes time. It's a new language. Yeah.
I think for a lot of things you just said, I think it not only applies to like dancing, but any skill or anything in life really, you know. You can't expect to perfect it in an hour's time. It's
Yeah.
going to take passion, time, and effort to become good at it.
Yeah, I agree. Exactly. And time. Uh, so to me, because this has never been my full-time job, I have my full-time job, thank God, and I'm really appreciated today. Um, this has always been my passion, and I treat it as such, right? So I do this just for the love of the passion, because I love my culture, I love the music. Um, and if it was, I don't know, any other, if it was foxtrot or tango, I will do it with the same passion. Because to me, it's just music in general. I took some ballroom lessons too, because I wanted to learn a little bit of other rhythms that were totally foreign to me when I came here. Um, so I'm able to explain a little more if I have a totally American white guy that has never danced and they come, I have two left feet. And they do probably, right? But they're familiar with other rhythms because they listen to, I don't know, Airbnb, you know, I'm not too, or jazz, or so if I know a little bit of all those music, I can maybe take, okay, jazz is like this, so salsa, you know, because all music is written in eight temp in eight, you know. So if you made that similarity, they're like, oh, okay. And you know, all the signs for the musicians in any music are the same. So what it changes is the rhythm. So now let me teach you how this rhythm works. And that's how they start getting more like, I think it has a lot to do with the it's not the history, but the foundation of how, why this music is this way and this other music is this other way. Yeah. Something like that. It's just, yeah.
Let me ask you this real quick, and because I think you know what we're talking about is musicality. So I'm very curious for someone out there who struggles with musicality.
Mhm.
You know, can you put into words, you know, what are some ways that someone can improve their musicality?
Listen, listen. Music has to be in your breakfast, your, you know, snack, lunch. Like if you're in your car, if you are, let's put it in a box, and you are really interested on learning salsa. That's all you want to learn right now. Which I always advise the students to learn one rhythm at a time, because you know, unless you know a lot about music and rhythms and things, it can get confusing to learning three things at the same time. So if you're learning only salsa, that should be your life. You know what I mean? Just listen, to all the salsa songs that are out there, one and again, and then you find some that you like more than others, then listen to them more because the other difference with the languages, right? Spanish usually, most likely, is writing in Spanish. So for us Spanish speakers, we're listening to, we understand what they're saying, so we can also kind of anticipate where the music can stop because that phrase will stop. We're like, ah, and we are singers, obviously, right? But when you don't know that language, all you listen is to you have no idea what they're saying. So you really have to concentrate on the music. So what I tell them, and I actually send them music that is only instrumental, like salsa that is only instrumental, so they can learn the instruments. Once they know that specific song instrumentally, now listen it with the lyrics, and now you don't get that distracted. Um, but the biggest for me, and it has worked for my students when it comes to musicality, is listen, listen, and listen, and listen to the music. And I send them playlists, and I tell them this is a slow, this is a medium, this is fast, this is Colombian style, this is Cuban, all these beautiful genres on the salsa. And then they start finding what they like the most and understanding. But listen, you have to listen to the music. It's like me learning English when I came to the country. All I did was listen to movies that I already knew to kind of understand what they're saying in another language. So you have to get your ear used to it.
Okay, I definitely understand that. I definitely do. I want to I want to hear about your time in Japan. You said you moved out to Japan and you started teaching out there. What was your time like living in Japan?
Amazing. I will go back to Japan tomorrow if I could. One of the best places I live in my life, and one of the most, I mean, I have all beautiful things to say about Japan. The culture, the people, the food, everything. And the dancing is when, for me, it became obvious how big the Latin dance, because it wasn't only salsa, was so big outside Colombia. And I'm in Japan, you know? And then I see all these Japanese people that don't speak Spanish, and some of them don't even speak English either. They only speak Japanese, dancing salsa like they were born in Colombia, right? I was like, what? Like, how? You don't even speak the language. That's not even your culture. To me, that was so like, I was just like, wow. And so Okinawa is a military base island. So I don't remember. I have like 6 or 7 military bases. So the whole island is military bases, right? And then you have the town where the Okinawans live, and the clubs that they go and all that. And so we were probably there for like 2 weeks. And my husband started working, and I'm like, okay, let's see how's this dancing scene here. So I found this place called Salsatina in Japan. So that sounds Spanish, Salsatina. So I went to the place, and I was like, this is my new home, right? And they have dancing every Friday, and it was packed. And believe it or not, that's the first time I heard the term salsa on two. I was like, what? Another thing that, because I was always on one Colombian and on one Colombian and on one. Salsa on two. Okay, what is this? And I'm not even gonna get into that because we can talk for 3 hours about the on one and the on two. You know how that goes. But then I saw some, couples dancing on two, another couples dancing on one, and then I met this Colombian guy out there, and we were dancing Colombian style, and all these people were, what is that? Because it's really different. And then I was like, maybe I can teach here, Colombian. And I started teaching Colombian style, and people was like loving it, the footwork they were used to, the partner work.
Yeah, it's
And
that footwork.
yeah, so they're learning, and I'm not saying I'm not even close to the big. I'm still beginner, so I teach beginners too. And then one of my friends told me, "Hey, why we don't open like a group, like a student team?" And I'm like, "That's another game, because then you have to do choreographies and all." And I never really done that. I learned a lot about choreography back home with my mom's group. And I learned a lot from the instructor at that time, but it's a different kind of, genre and all that. But the principles are the same. So I said, okay, let's choose a song and see how it goes. So I start like dancing in my living room, trying to make steps that go with the music. And I tell you something, the biggest, I mean, I respect dancers, but choreographers, when I see a dance team or a solo or anybody dancing a song that hits every beat, I cannot get enough. I'm always like, because I know how long it takes just to make a step that go. It's not just making the step. It has to be the step that goes with that song in that specific time. That is a skill. That is a skill. So I did have a group called Sugoi Salsa. Um, and that group was really successful actually for the 4 years that we were there. But it was a student, and we have Japanese, we have some people from Central America and some Latin people in the group. And we did some presentations, and I felt so proud because I was leading the group, and then seeing your students performing, it's really, yeah, it's really nice. And one, two, four people of that team were still friends of mine, really close friends. We became, because that's another thing in this community. When you go into the same club or you become a dance member of a team, they really become part of your family, and I love it. So yeah, Japan was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
No, I definitely understand that. I definitely do. So so yeah, so you move to Japan, you have a wonderful time, and then you come back to the States. I guess I want to kind of segue into the Baltimore Salsa Bachata Congress Festival. I guess what brought about that idea? Well, how did that come about?
Oh, that's interesting. I came here to Baltimore at the end of 2006, so 2007. And again, I really never really live here in the States because I was 3 months in here. Well, the year that was in Ohio, but besides that, it was kind of short period of times. Like a year, it doesn't give you enough time to build anything. So when I came here to Baltimore and I knew this was gonna be my home, um, the first thing I did was, and we're just talking about my life as dancing, because everything else is another story. And so I went to try to find a studio to where I could teach beginners. So I again Google what are the best dance studios in Baltimore, and then I found the Thousand. It's called Thousand Dance Studio. A studio has been on the business by the time I came for 30 some years, so it was really well known. I go to the studio and apply, and I get the job like instantly. And I'm like, but are you listening to me? I'm just a beginner teacher. They're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. We want to start a Latin program, and I'm like, okay, same story. Like I have so many Americans and so many, and I will say it, white guys and girls that they had no clue about Latin music. And to me, that's always been the best because they don't know nothing. So I can feel like I teach them right from the beginning and put that foundation for you, the bigger teacher or more experience to take over. And so I started teaching at the Thousand Dance Studio in 2007. And then 2007, 2008, yeah, nice. I'm having my classes and they're growing and so much nice. But I'm like, I'm the kind of person that I get bored. I'm not a routine person. So I was like, okay, I need to do something else. I mean, I have all these students. I'm having like probably 60 to 70 students every class. So it's a lot. Yeah. And I'm like, I need to do something. And so I started doing a party, like a social, on Fridays. Super successful. So the studio had capacity for probably 350 people, and I never struggled. So it was always fine. And I'm like, this is a lot of people. So I'm like, start listening more and more. Oh, I don't know, the Los Angeles Congress, the New York Congress, Miami Congress, the Congress here, Congress there. I'm like, wait, I don't see a Congress in Baltimore. So what it takes to do, what is a Congress? Because I've never been in one at that time. So I went to the New York Congress. That was my first Congress that I ever went. So I went to the New York Congress. I was like, wow, this is huge. But then you have everything in one place, the live musicians, a bunch of DJs, dancers from, well, it's New York, obviously, all over the world. And it's like dance and dance and dance, and next day and next day and next day, and the wonderful shows. And I was like, I want to do this in Baltimore. I really wasn't too aware of if Baltimore is a big city, a small city, and what is the demographics of Baltimore. I didn't even went deep. If I was going to start a Congress today, I will go into those stuff. But at that time, I'm just like the kind of person that I'm gonna jump into the pool, and I just go into the pool with shoes and everything. I just jump and let's see what happens. I'm getting older, so I'm learning to at least take my shoes off, right? And so I was like, I'm gonna do a Congress in Baltimore. Yeah, but I wanna get my slow. I didn't know negotiations with venues and negotiations with, artists. And I'm not going to lie here and say, oh, yeah, I knew what I was doing. No, 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 no. I thought I knew what I was doing, but I was actually learning. And then I have a lot of backlash for the Baltimore community. Like the other instructors and promoters that were already here, I got nasty messages. It was really hard. But at the same time, for me, it's like a challenge. When you tell me you cannot do something, it's like, watch me. That can be good and bad. Okay. I'm not giving this advice to nobody, but I'm just saying it can be good and bad. So it's like, pretty much they were saying that who you are to come to this city and pretend that you're going to be able to do a Congress. I said, I am nobody. I'm not even a dancer, right? I'm just somebody that is trying to teach newbies the beautiful thing about my culture. That's how I saw myself at the time, and I still do. But yeah, you can also not tell me if I can or cannot do something, right? So I took it as a challenge, really. And so I started talking to a dear friend of mine at that time, and we started talking, how can we do this? She was more business oriented, so it helped me. So she was like, you know what? Let's do a tryout at the studio. So let's do like a whole day of workshops and a party at night. See how many people will come. How many people will actually buy it, because it's a business. So you cannot do a congress and don't charge. I would love to do a congress that is for free. Maybe one day if I won the lottery, I will do it. And so we did it was called the Baltimore Salsa Fest, the first one that we did in 2009. And it was at the Thousand Dance Studio. And then the studio has a huge ballroom that holds like probably 350 people. But then it have other rooms. So we use one of the other big rooms to do it at the Bachata room. At that time, Bachata. What was that? I wasn't familiar with Bachata really. But everybody was like, no, 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 you gotta have bachata. Okay, let's do bachata room. So I hired only two DJs, one for the salsa room, one for the bachata room, and I bring a live salsa band, like a local. And then I have probably 15 dance teams, but it was all in the DMV. It was only Virginia, Maryland. It was pretty local. And well, we have the website and all that, right? Oh my God. the day comes, the workshops are packed. Like I had to take people like I can't. I don't have capacity. Then at night when we had the actual party, I had to close the doors because we already had 350 and we can't have more people. I mean, I would, but the fire department would get me in trouble. And so I'm like, so I had to turn people back, and that made me feel horrible. I'm like, oh my God, I advertised this thing and I didn't have enough for all the people. I didn't know that many people was gonna come. So I need a hotel for next year. So I found this hotel, the Crown Plaza, which wasn't really in Baltimore City. So it's more like, in the outskirts. Like, so okay, I found this hotel and I rented the hotel as a hotel. So you know exactly. So I don't know if people know what I'm talking about, and I don't
So
mind.
yeah, so yeah, real quick, you mean did you rented like a room? Like, what do you mean?
Exactly. You know, like if you're gonna get married and then you rented the ballroom and they charge you the fee for the ballroom. But I didn't know that you can waive some of those fees out of the rooms, the sleeping rooms. So the hotel did a feast with me because now I'm paying all this money for the actual rental, and it's not one ballroom, has to be more than one. And then all the sleeping rooms that were sold, they were just sold for the hotel. I didn't get anything out of it. And I
So
did
yeah,
that.
so hold on. Yeah, I'm not sure I understand. So you went to the hotel and you rented a ballroom, and then you also rented out some rooms yourself.
No, no, no. But what happened with the hotels when you do conventions, right? It's like if you sell this amount of rooms, they will give you a discount for the renting of the room, of the ballroom. But because I didn't know that, and I'm saying all this is just because I want the people that don't know and wants to, going to do events, really, really, you need to ask. But asking is also risky because you need to know who to ask. So feel free to call me and ask me for whatever you want because I will tell you exactly the truth and how it is. I have nothing that I don't want people to know, you know? And so if I knew that I can get some kind of discount or some kind of revenue or profit for the sleeping rooms, I tell you, I will have a lot of money right now. And what happened? Because I did the Congress in that hotel 3 years, I don't say that I lose money because I was lucky enough that enough people attended, but I don't say I made money either. So I was really on the breaking even line because I didn't have the support uh, from my community. And I'm not gonna say everybody because that would be no. A lot of people supported me, but the first 2 years, when I'm talking about support, I'm talking about other promoters, other instructors, musicians, people that were in the same. No. So my support came from my beautiful Colombian people that came from New Jersey and from Philadelphia. And so when I did I believe it was third, the third Congress, I can say easy that it was 70% of the people was Colombian from here, right? But I also have support for great people like Darlene Garcia from Philadelphia. He started with me from the first one and still is with us. So there is people out there that is amazing that really does this because of the passion and because they truly believe in the cultural part of it. And the money is just a plus, right? And so once I learned a little more about how this business side works, and I'm not going to take credit for that because I was lucky enough to go to another event in New York and I met Albert Torres. And so Albert Torres told me, without knowing me. He just knew I was Kaya and I was doing this congress in Baltimore somewhere, right? So he said, "Oh, so you Kaya for the Baltimore Congress?" I'm like, "Oh my God, Albert Torres is talking to me, you know? This guy has like connections and organized congresses like everywhere." I say, "Yes." So he's like, "Oh, I would like to talk to you." To me, really? Yes, I'm here, right? So we finished the event that we were attending, and then he comes and said to me, "I kind of look a little bit at your congress, but if you don't go to the city, to the actual heart of whatever city you are, you're not gonna make it. Because where is that place that you do it? What is that neighborhood? No, nobody knows that neighborhood. And what is that hotel? The Crown Plaza? You need a hotel, like a big name, you know, Marriott, Hilton, Hyatt." And I'm like, "Psh, I can barely afford the Crown Plaza, and you're naming me all these huge names." He said, "I want to help you." I'm like, "Really? Why?" Like, "Why you want to help me?" Because I want to help because I see that you have the passion for this, so I do want to help you. And I'm always thinking like, how much is gonna cost me, right? I didn't say it, but I was thinking. And then he kind of read my mind, and he's like, "This is not about money. I really truly want to help you because I believe your city has the potential to become a big congress, but you need to change the location." I said, "Okay." So he came to Baltimore. One day he came and left the same day, which I never forget. And I already have pre-scheduled some appointments in the biggest hotels in the harbor. We went to all of them. He's talking because I had no idea what I'm gonna talk. So he said, "You trust me?" I said, "Yeah." So just kind of listen and just kind of, if I say something that you don't agree because it's still your event, you just say, "Well, blah blah blah," right? No, he goes into this first hotel, and when he started talking, within the first 5 minutes, I said, "Kaya, you have no idea what you've been doing." I just realized, wow, what? And then he started doing all these negotiations and all that. And I was just like, yep, yep, what he said. Yep, totally right. I agree. But it was like, wow. It made me feel blessed, but it also made me feel sad a little bit at the same time because that all could have been avoided if I would have the support from the beginning. Because I know some of the people that were already here, they knew how to do that. They just didn't wanna, they didn't believe in me. I don't blame them in that sense because they didn't know me. But it wasn't about believing in me, it was about believing in the project to give Baltimore a Congress. And so Albert left to Los Angeles, and I had 3 hotels to choose from because they were pretty much saying kind of deal. But then the Hilton called me with something that I couldn't get on the other hotels. So I said, "Okay, the Hilton will be." And then we started organizing the event at the Hilton. That was 2015, the first one we did at the Hilton. I was super scared because now this is a bigger venue, a bigger investment, but the investment was done in a smartest way for what Albert helped me to accomplish in that. And so we did the Congress, totally successful, more than any other, because obviously it's a beautiful location. And I was like, done. Now you start getting the support of everybody that didn't want to support you before. And I welcome everybody. Yes, because that's all it's about.
So that was 15. So 6 years in is when I guess you finally kind of hit your stride. You felt your best.
What is it again?
I said you said that was in 2015. So 6 years in, you kind of felt like you kind of did your best.
Oh, well, I mean, the first 6 years, and when you say it, I have to think again. I said, damn, it was 6 years. Yeah. I'm not going to say that was easy. It wasn't. It wasn't easy. I have everything. I have people that support me with whatever they could and wherever they could, and they did everything they could. They're still my friends in a way or another. But I have people that were trying to take advantage of situations, or and I have all kind of experiences. It teach me so much about life, about people, about money, and about values. So that 6 years, some people have asked me like, "Would you do it again?" I'm like, in a heartbeat, and I will probably do it the same way, just so I learn what I know now. But if you're my friend and you come to me and say, "Kaya, I want to start this congress," I will say, wait a second. Let me show you some stuff. Let me teach you some things so you can take a real decision if you really want to get into this. This business is not, and I'm sorry other promoters will disagree with me, but this business is not for money making. This business is for love, fun, and you might make a little.
Let me real quick. I want to ask you this real quick on this subject, and it's kind of like it's like, well, it's a two-part question maybe. Um, I want you to word this in a way for someone who is thinking about starting a congress, a festival in their city. And so the question is, what things do you know now that you wish you had known back in 2009?
Everything.
Can you maybe to help out somebody? What
Tell
wisdom
you,
can you
I'm
give to help
gonna
out
tell you,
somebody?
somebody that wants to get into organizing an event, let's call it, it can be a congress, but we're talking about something like a big scale, right? If you're hoping to have more, 400 people and more, right? Definitely you will need a hotel if you need all that people, right? The first thing I will say is ask yourself, why are you doing it? Why? What is your reason? And I'm not saying that money is not a good reason. Hey, you can do nothing if you don't have money. So money, it is a necessary evil. It is. But if that is your reason, because you want to make money, then you need to really do a really deep business research, right? Um, so first is why. Now, when you know why, then do the research onto that field, right? I'm doing this just because I love it, and money is going to be involved, and I don't want my personal, and the people that has worked with me throughout the years, they will know this. Money hasn't ever been my motivation. But do I want to lose money? No. I'm a mother of two. I got divorced when I came to Baltimore, so I ended up raising my kids by myself. And so, do I want to lose money? No. Do I want to walk out of a congress with $50,000? And yes, right? But is it realistic? Is it actually possible? Right? Unless I'm gonna bring this amazing talent for 5 times of the price, then yeah, I might make money. But then is it fair? Is it fair? You're a professional dancer. You have put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of money to learn your skill, and then you're coming to my congress and I'm gonna pay you $200. So you deserve what you deserve, right? Can I afford you? I mean, there is a lot of talent out there that I will die to hire. And when they tell me, well, this is my fee, I said, and I love you, and you totally deserve that and more, but I cannot afford you. If I
Real
cannot,
quick, real quick,
yeah,
real quick. I'm completely outside of I guess what it costs. So like, what is the range of maybe a B list dancer, or an A list dancer?
like a great professional one.
So yeah, so not a great, but a little bit below great. Like, what would that cost?
I will tell you probably a great, so I don't get it compromised with people. But dancers, I will call personal, and all this is, and I want this just for people to know. Everything I'm saying here is my personal opinion, which again, it can be agreeable or disagreeable, and it's okay, right?
All right.
Yeah, I'm all up to other opinions as well. But a great dancer to me is someone that has taken the time to learn, to actually invest on the learning process, and that has some kind of resume, right?
Right, right, right.
They have won a championship. They own, probably they own their own dance studio. They're successful on that. So we're talking about maybe like a star. They won't come to a congress, and we're talking about a couple. This is not teams. That's another game. For like less than dollars,
For a weekender.
only for the fee. But then you got a flight, hotel, per diem. So this kind of star can be
And so you say is that for a class? Is that for a
no.
performance?
So usually the way I do it, and I think most of the Congress organizers do it that way, you hire a talent that is able to do everything. So they can teach, they can perform. For me, it's important that they're sociable, that they actually mingle with people, and they don't stay at night dancing with each other, because you dance with your partner always. Can you dance with this lady that is sitting there and is not dancing? Right? To me, that was a requirement. um and so yeah, just these couples that can do anything. But there is other couples that are amazing, that have been champions as well, but they have maybe another. See, the difference is when you're a dancer and that's your livelihood, so you cannot afford to come to Baltimore for a whole weekend, leave your studio, leave your competitions and everything that gives you money, comes to Baltimore because I love Kaya and I'm not gonna charge her $500. You love me, but that's not gonna work for you.
Right,
I,
right,
I
right.
love you too. Can I pay you 5,000? Maybe not, because it's not only you. I'm bringing another six couple. So then now you do the math. And then I have a live band, and then I have the hotel, and you and the next thing you're like $100,000. No, you know. And so these congresses are way more complex than what people see, you know. And I love um, one day to become only an attendee, because all I had to go is go dance, sleep in the room, and leave. But the whole organizing and the whole financial responsibility, and the responsibility you have an organizer to offer something nice, is I take it really serious. And that's why at some point I decided to give it away.
You see, we'll get into that, but I kind of cut you off. So you said, um,
No,
words of
no,
wisdom for.
you can never cut me off.
Okay, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But you were saying, words of wisdom for someone who wants to start a Congress. And you said, first thing, why do you want to do it? What was the second and third thing?
Do your
Or yeah,
homework. And the homework is research. Ask questions to people that you trust. That is the hardest part, because it happened to me, and I know it has happened to other people, where I feel like I trust you, and then I'm gonna ask you, and then you give me the information by pieces, because you don't want me to become your competition. See, I think competition is a beautiful thing. It's what it makes us grow. I want to be better than you, then you want to be better than me. I want to be better than you. And we're always competing. That means we're getting better and better and better. So the product that the people is getting is better.
yeah,
But
exactly.
I'm not open to share. I'm not afraid to. You call me tomorrow. You, like, we just met, right? And by the way, I think you're a great guy, and congratulations for this that you're doing is great. Um,
Appreciate it.
but if you call me tomorrow and you say, "Hey, Kaya, you know what? I decided that I want to start a congress, and I know why, and I know all these things. What advice can you give me?" I will take you, get a paper and pencil, because I'm going to start giving you some tips, and you follow them. And if you follow them, you will have success fastest. I'm not calling
Exactly.
myself successful, but you will be successful a little faster than I was.
Of
Because
course.
now I'm giving you all these things that I didn't know. Why will I keep it to me? Even if you come and do another congress in Baltimore, hey, do it. So now we have two congresses. Let's see which one is better. You know, um, but some people had that, and some people don't like. It's only one Congress, and you cannot do another one. And also, there is other variables. I mean, small cities really, really, it will be really hard. They can afford having two congresses in a small city. Because, yeah, but if it's New York can have three congresses, and it probably will be, all three will be successful. But will it happen? Probably not, because it comes the whole, this is a tough business.
I
Entertainment,
believe it.
entertainment in general is tough, but I love it.
Um, I'm curious. I guess what year did you hand over the conference to I'm blanking on their name.
Andola.
Yeah, Dola Rise. When was that?
That was okay. So I moved to the Hilton in 2015. We did 2015 and 2016. Uh, so 2017 is the first year they did it.
Yeah.
Um,
Before I spoke with you, I actually interviewed them
yeah,
last weekend. Yeah, I just had them on the show.
awesome.
Yeah, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed talking with them. And so I want to ask you, so you handed it over in 2016 or 17. So from 2009 to 2016, 7 years. What what made you want to give it up? Was it just more work than it was worth, or what happened?
Out of circumstances, and I will do it again. People ask me, did you regret to? And I think I don't big part of why I don't regret that decision. It lies in the organizers today. One of my things was, if you have a business, and we're talking business in general, what do you want with your business? You want it to grow. That's the whole point, right? So you start with a classroom with two students. Now you want four. Now you want six. And what is your final goal? Congresses doesn't have a final goal. 4,000. Now I want 5,000. You know, all the people I can feed. Um, I was noticing that I'm gonna call it my Congress to kind of explain. I was noticing that my Congress was flat, like it wasn't growing. And it wasn't
When
growing.
you say growing, just like the people coming?
Yeah, growing on the attendance. And why wasn't growing? And I know exactly why, because I didn't have the support of Baltimore and DC, which is really sad, but is a reality. For different reasons, it can be personality. People. Some people love you, some people don't. It's just the way it is. For some reason, in general, I'm not saying nobody came from DC or nobody came from Baltimore, but if you go to a club and then you see, let's say it this way, you go to a Congress in DC and you see it's packed, and it's like 50% is people from DC. Now you do it in Baltimore and you have 10% coming. Something is not working. Somewhere is a disconnection. And the disconnection was personal. You know, it was personal. People decided not to support me, and it was a really sad time in my life. I'm not gonna lie. I was talking to my daughter. Andrea was my right hand with the Congress, and believe it or not, we did the Congress only the two of us. It was only me and my daughter,
All 7 years, or what do you mean?
all 7 years. Um,
Wow.
we did have volunteers, right? But when I'm talking about the organizing part, organizing, contracting, talent, everything you want to name it, it was me and her. Let alone that she was in the Air Force at that time. So she was doing a lot of things long distance and then travel here a week before the Congress to help me with the craziness of the before and after. I couldn't have done it without my daughter. That's a fact. Andrea was like, wow. But at that time, Andrea bring it to my attention and she said, Mom, I don't see this growing. We're having kind of the same numbers for like 3 years. Like the first 4 or 5 years, it grew, and I was, because I had more time and I was traveling a lot, New Jersey, New York, North Carolina. So I was bringing people from outside, And if you came to one of the Congress of Baltimore in that time, you wouldn't see people from Baltimore or DC. It was everybody from everywhere but here. People came from California to support me. And so to me, it was sad. It was sad. This is a Congress, and it has a lot to do with the beginning. Remember I told you at the beginning I have a lot of backlash? Well, that backlash carry on. Uh, and I don't know. It's sad to say that when people see that you're growing, instead of coming into the wagon, they kind of push you to the hole. You know what I mean? They don't wanna see you succeed. I never understand that. When somebody succeeds and the first one to be jumping, I'm so happy for you. Um, but I don't see, and I'm not talking about everybody, but people that was key, right? It's not just a dancer because the dancers actually came as students, but I'm talking about big names in the community that decided not to support me. And so I'm like, yeah, it's a lot of work trying to bring people from other cities because also it's more expensive. Um, I love my Colombians because I literally couldn't do it without them. We had the support people like Darlene, like Noel Rodriguez from Philadelphia. I have Celso Orozco from LA. I mean, I can name you a lot of people that has been there from with me from 2009 to today. If I call them, I need you to perform the like where. So performers had never been the problem. Talent in general is great. Is promoters. They with other promoters. And so I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired of fighting. It's a fight. It's a fight. Making calls. But why? But do this. I'm tired of fighting. Um, let's give it to someone that wants to pick up this fight. And hopefully we can find someone that has better connections or relationships with DC especially, right? DC is a big dancing community. We need the support. We do, you know, because Baltimore, the dancing community in Baltimore is not that big. It won't hold a congress itself. You cannot do a congress only with Baltimore, but I do believe you can do a congress only with DC. It's a bigger city. It's a bigger community. Yeah, so we need DC. It's a fact. When DC does their events, we go. So I want them to come, right? It's just kind of fair. But anyways,
I said
I
I'm in I'm from Richmond, Virginia. I don't know if you heard of Richmond, so I've
of
traveled to
course,
DC.
Julissa Cruz is
Yeah.
another one of my biggest supporters.
Oh, Jalissa Cruz. I know she was my first salsa instructor.
Oh my God, she's one of the best. I mean, when she dances, I just sit down.
Oh yeah, dude, Jalissa's good. I was on her performance team for a little while.
Oh, really? I
Yeah,
knew your face was familiar. Because
yeah,
Julissa
yeah, Jalissa.
has come to a lot of my events, actually. And at the
Yeah,
Congress, I think she's been
yeah,
pretty much
yeah.
here. Yeah.
Jalissa, yeah, she is an absolutely amazing dancer.
Oh yeah, and a person, to me, yeah, you're a great dancer, awesome. But are you a great person too? And to me, it has to be together. And I'm blessed to kind of almost, I can say all the great dancers I know, they're also great people. And so I actually sent an email to all the promoters in Baltimore to let them know that I wasn't continuing the Congress and to see who was interested to take over and that I was willing to give them all the juices. I wasn't going to be like, oh, I'll give you a Congress and you see what you do. No, I'm going to tell you everything I know. I'm going to give you every good deal I have out there, pass it to you, and help you in any way I can because my hope was for the Congress to grow. So if I don't help you and give you everything I know, you're really starting from zero.
And I
Why?
said, it's your baby, right?
Yeah, so it's like, no, I'm gonna ask me, what do you need? What do you want? What can I give you to help you get into this adventure?
I
And
say, and that's what that's what Dola and Raj told me. You know, they said you've been immensely helpful since they've taken over.
Yeah, I mean, they are great people. So I talked to a few, and some were kind of like, but then again, when I go and tell you black and white, this is what you're getting into. Are you sure you want to get this? Maybe not, right? But when I went and talked to Dola and Raj, the same way, this is what you're getting into. Are you sure you wanna, and I'm always gonna be behind watching you. And I want this to become one day one of the biggest congresses in the United States. Let's start for the East Coast at least. So it's a big challenge because we always be competing with New York. Can we be bigger than New York? I think we can. We just have to work hard to make it happen, right? Um, but Dola is really loved everywhere. People love him. Um, Dola was here, and I don't, probably I'm not mistaken that he was here before Rush came into Baltimore. And I knew both of them as DJs, and I have a lot of respect for them. Yeah. Um, and obviously, Dola's a salsa DJ. He has my love automatically. Um, and then Raj was working with me in some, venues and stuff. And then I started, getting to know both of them as people. And then we had the meeting and they were like, yeah, we'll take it. And I was so relieved that someone actually will continue it because otherwise it would have been the Baltimore Congress only for 7 years. Yeah. So they took it over and they did the first one in 2017. It was everything I was hoping for. It was already a lot more people. Yeah, a lot more attendees came. So it just kind of, I knew it. I knew they were the right people, and I also knew they were the right people to get the support I couldn't get. So when I went and I saw it, I'm like, perfect. And then 18, and then they go 19, every year is getting bigger and bigger. And I totally believe next year they had to postpone the 10-year anniversary for obvious reasons. Um, but everything happens for a reason. And I think the people is going to have so much expectation and so much, oh my God, I need to dance, that the 221 for the 10 year is going to be I mean, they're probably going to have to get another, they already have to use another hotel, but they might have to use a third one yeah, I'm hoping we have to use all the hotels in the harbor to accommodate the people. Yeah.
I definitely understand that.
Now, yep.
Real quick, yeah, I appreciate you, going over all that. I want to ask you maybe one or two questions more before we wrap this up. All right. Uh, um, for I want to get into advice for dancers out there. So for a beginner out there who feels like they're stuck in a beginner's rut, like they're not getting better, what advice could you give them?
Let me tell you something first. If you're a beginner and you're really like truly practicing and you're truly listening to your instructor's advice, it's no reason for you to be stuck. But if you are, then you need to go a step back and think about, am I really following my instructor's advice? Or I am taking classes for an actual good instructor. Sometimes the problem is not the student. It can be the instructor. Maybe you're taking classes and not necessarily because it's a bad instructor per se, but I believe in chemistry. So if the student doesn't have the chemistry with the teacher, it can be the best teacher ever. I have taken some classes with some teachers that are like, I'm not coming back. And they're great dancers, but I just didn't feel it. It's like when you go into a workshop, right? You go into a workshop, oh my God, I love that instructor. And maybe you learn two steps. So chemistry is important. You need to know that. Are you going home and practicing? Because a lot of students in all levels, they go take the class, go home, come back a week after. If you didn't practice, I really gotta teach you the class all over again. You're wasting your time. You're paying me, so I'm good. But you're wasting your time because you're not practicing, right? So as an instructor, you need to give your students some homework. I always give them homework. You need to practice this step this many times or this much time every day, blah, blah, blah. And when you come next class, we do a review for the first 10 minutes, because I want to see you really practice, and then we continue. If you didn't practice, we'll repeat in the class. So now people are like, oh no, I'm not paying her for teaching me the same thing, so I'm going to practice. So they need to practice, they need to listen to the music, and they need to feel comfortable with their instructor and listen to the instructions. And they will make it. Yes.
I like it. I like it. And real quick, last question for you. Can you give me one tip, th- one tip that can make anyone a better dancer immediately?
The one tip is non-existent. I wish it was one. I wish it was something that is like, boom, now I'm a dancer. Like, believe it or not, like I wanted to learn how to dance waltz, right? And I've been dancing all my life pretty much. And I had rhythm and all that kind of stuff. So I went to the owner of the studio where I started it. And I said, John, I want to learn how to dance waltz. So I already know how to dance. I already know rhythm, blah, 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 blah. Just teach me, right? And he's looking at me like, this is like a world champion in Europe and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, he's big in ballroom. So he looked at me and he said, Kaya, I'm going to tell you the same thing you tell your students. There is not a switch that you can just do, blink, now I know how to dance. I said, so how long it will take me to become a good beginner in waltz? He said, if you take a class twice a week, it will take you a year to only learn the beginning, the beginner's level. It's the same for everything else. So there is nothing that you can do to become a good dancer like that. But keep dancing though. Keep dancing. No matter how. At the end of the day, no matter how, I forgot the saying right now, but dance like nobody's watching you. I think.
Say it again. You broke up. Say it again.
There is a saying out there like dance like nobody's watching you.
Oh, definitely. Yes, ma'am. Exactly.
Definitely. At the end of the day, dancing is entertainment. So if you're a social dancer, go and do your thing. You don't need all the technicality. Leave that for the professionals. You're a social dancer, go have fun. That's it.
I like it. I like it.
Yes.
I wanna thank you so much, Kai, for taking time with you to talk to me.
No, thank you for having patience to listen to me all this long. It's been
No, I definitely enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it. Real quick, let me ask you this. Do you have any upcoming events? Do you have anything you want to plug for yourself for people to find out?
you know what is right now talking about events right now is I don't even know what's the word. I'm just hoping everybody's safe. Everybody's staying at home and just be healthy and safe. And it's a difficult time, really difficult time for the whole entertainment business. Everybody that it comes from the beginner teacher to DJ, uh, how, if I'm a DJ full time right now, how I'm making money? There is nothing where I can go play. Or if I'm a full time instructor, instructors are doing classes online. I'm like doing this because it's like that harder to do classes online than doing it one to one. So the DJ, same thing. I'm playing and everybody's watching me on the screen. That's another of my passions, right? The DJs, which I have a lot of respect for all the DJs out there because I'm just 4 years into this, so I'm pretty much new. Um, but for the, I started organizing the Vivelo Latin and Ballroom Championships because I want to merge the ballroom world with the Latin world. That's what I want. I just want to bring everybody in one room and learn from each other. Let's see how ballroom is. Let's see how Latin is. And that's kind of my concept on that event, which we're doing this September at the Hilton. In all honesty, do I feel that is going to actually happen? That's the $1 million question. There is some events before me, before my date, so I really don't want to say much. But I'm following the news every day. I'm following the guidelines and see. I'm kind of, you know, thinking what can be. Um, but I mean, either 2020, 2021, we are doing the competitions. Um, it's a different kind of, it's really different than a congress. Um, but that's the next thing I'm doing if God permits, and we are allowed to be close to each other again. It's no dancing 6 feet apart.
Now you're right about that. You're right.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this real quick. How can people get in contact with you? How can they reach out to you?
What is it again?
How can people get in contact with you? How can they reach out to you?
They called you and you tell them how. No, well, I mean, I am on Facebook as Kaya, DJ Kaya is my Facebook page. And then my company page is Kaya Dance Company. And then you can also go to the Vivelo Latin and Ballroom Championships website. And in all of those pages is my personal number and my email. And Vivelo Latin and Championships is also an event done by my nonprofit. Because I decided to open a nonprofit organization, uh, mainly because of the concept that I was telling you. Is for me, it's more about the passion than the money. And nonprofits, that's the whole purpose, to work for nonprofit. So the all the money that we get from the championships, 100% of the money is going to allow us to open dance programs for the veterans and the unprivileged children in Baltimore City. So that's my new goal. But yeah, you can contact me through Facebook, Instagram. You gave them my phone. I mean, anyway.
Yeah. So when I upload this to YouTube and Spotify and everything, iTunes, I will make sure I put your contact information down low, all right, in the comments.
Yes, of course. Yes. Thank you
Awesome.
so much.
Of course. No, I really want to say thank you, Kai. Just taking time out to talk to me. I really appreciate it. And I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, you have a good eye and stay in touch.
Of course,
Enjoy
of
one.
course.
Don't forget about us when you're in one.
I would not. I would not.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Kaya. I think this would do it for this episode of the Two Luffy podcast. Thank you so much, Kaya.
Bye.
Bye. Adios.
That's all it is. Hey everyone, if you made it this far all the way to the end of the video, I want to thank you so much. My overall goal with making these interviews and these episodes is to give a voice to dancers, to give them a platform to speak their story. So if this is of value to anyone, then that means the world to me. My overall goal is to give value to the dance community. So if you find no value in this, then I urge you to please let me know where I can improve on. I truly want to, just give value and content to the dance community. So please let me know how I can improve, where I'm messing up, because to be 100% honest with you, I'm learning along the way as I do this. I truly am. So to be able to interact with the dance community, it means the world to me, because it gives me feedback and it lets me know what I'm doing right, where I can improve upon. what I'm doing wrong, which I feel like might maybe more important. So please, if you all could comment and just let me know what you think. It means the world to me because that feedback just helps me improve. So please comment as well. Please like and subscribe. That means a lot as well. But I want to say thank you so much for just watching this because it means the world to me. I want to take you on this journey of the Two Left Feet podcast. I'm very excited for it. So once again, thank you so much.